Hi guys, it's Peppy Sterling here. You're welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be making this beautiful play dress with a keyhole details in front, and this is what the back looks like. If this is what you're interested in, kindly keep on watching. If you're new to the channel, you're welcome to my channel. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And to my returning subscribers, you're welcome back to my channel. So without wasting much time, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thing I did here is I folded my fabric into this triangular shape. Okay, I'll be cutting the flay part first. So what you're going to do is from this tip here, from this point, you're going to measure to get quarter of your waist circumference. Okay, so that's what I got here. Quarter of my waist circumference is 8, so I added 1 inch for seam allowance. And then from the tip, I'm going to measure it just like so, following that first mark that I made. Okay, so I'm just going to keep marking it to form my waistline. So it should be slightly curved. Okay, so here I'm cross-checking to be sure that it's up to quarter of my waist plus 1 inch for seam allowance. Okay, from the waistline I'm going to subtract the half length. I'm working with is 18.5, so what I subtracted here is 18. The remaining half inch will be for joining on the waistline, and then I'm going to mark 52 inches on this part. This flay part is 2 tiers. Okay, so you can decide how you want to divide it. So I want this part to be longer, so the second tier is going to be smaller. Okay, so what I'm marking here is 52 inches. Okay, so this 52 inches includes my seam allowance. Okay, so you're going to work with your own full length of the dress. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this out. So here I just placed the front on top, and then I gave about 1.5 for the zipper allowance. Okay, so the front and the back is basically the same thing, the only difference is the zipper allowance. Another thing I want to mention here is that this dress consumes a lot of fabric. So what I used to make this dress is 6 yards. Yes, and I'm size 12. Okay, so if you don't want to consume so much, especially if you're on a bigger size than myself, you want to make this flay part, this particular part, not to be so much. You want to reduce the flay. Okay, so here I'm just marking where I'll be attaching the pocket. So I went down 2 inches from the waistline for the second tier of this dress. Okay, so I'm going to be making it 16 inches long. I just folded my fabric. It's a very long fabric, so I'm making it 16 inches to make up for the full length of the dress. I'm just going to cut this out. I'll be cutting a lot of this to be able to, because we're going to be gathering it up, so it should be enough to attach to the flay parts that we cut out earlier. Okay, so for the bodice here, I'm marking the shoulder to bust point, shoulder to under bust, and shoulder to the waistline. Then I'll be adding 1.5 seam allowance. I'm just going to mark the same thing here. For the neck, okay, for the shoulder, sorry, half of the shoulder measurement, and I came down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. The neck width is 3 inches and the neck depth is 3 inches. So it's 3 by 3. And then I'm going to connect the shoulder slope. Okay, so from this part I'll come down here to get the armhole length. Okay, you already know how to get that, is on the screen. And then I'll cover my armhole. So from here I'm going to mark bust span as nipple to nipple, and then I'll mark it here for the darts. Mark it all the way to the bust point. So I'm taking 0.75 on both sides of that line, and from the bust point I'll come down by 1 inch, and then I'll connect just like so to form the waist dart. For the keyhole opening on this neckline, I'll come down, I'll mark 1.5 on this point, okay, 1.5, and from that 1.5 mark I'll come down by 4 inches. Okay, this is totally optional. If you want it to be very deep, you can go as much as 5 inches. So from that 4 inches opening, I'll get the midpoint, which is 2, and from that point I went in by 1.5. Okay, so I'll advise you make this part to be 1 inch, okay, because mine turned out to be very wide, but it's totally optional. If you want it to be very wide, you can maintain the same 1.5. So here I'm just going to mark this half circle, and that is it for the keyhole. So next I'm going to mark the body measurement. So here I'm marking the bust circumference divided by 4 plus 1.5 for seam allowance, and on the waistline I'm going to mark quarter of the waist, replace the dart intake, and then add seam allowance. Okay, so from this point I came down by 1.5, okay, and on this part I went out by 1 inch, and then I'm going to connect this. Okay, so this is going to be the bust dart. So remember to notch your dart. Okay, so this is the front, this is what it looks like. So moving over to the back, I'm just marking out the shoulder line, and next I'm going to mark from the shoulder to the waistline plus seam allowance. Okay, so here I'm marking 1.5, which will be serving as the zipper allowance, and then I'm connected with a straight line. So from this part I'm going to mark the neck width, and that is 3 inches, and for the neck depth I made it 9 inches here, but I later came down to 11 inches, okay, because I wanted the back neck depth to be very deep. So it's totally up to you how deep you want it to be. Okay, so I'm just going to connect this, and we're going to mark half of the shoulder measurement. We'll come down here by 1 inch, and then connect the shoulder slope. From this point here I'll mark the armhole line, okay, and then I'm going to connect this to mark the armhole curve. So this line here will be serving as the chest line. Okay, so I'm just going to mark it like so, and from here I will mark the bust span up to the chest line, and from this point I will come down by 1 inch from the chest line, and then take ½ inch on both sides of this bust span line, connect to form the waist dart. Okay, so next is to put the body measurement. So here I'm marking quarter of the bust circumference plus seam allowance, and on the waist quarter of the waist circumference, replace the dart intake and then seam allowance. Okay, so next is to cut this out. Okay, remember to cut open the zipper allowance and also notch your darts. So this is the back. For the sleeve, okay, so I folded my fabric like so, because I'll be cutting the 2 sleeves at once. So the length is 15 inches. Okay, it's going to be a short puffy puff sleeve, and then I'll fold it this way. Okay, so the puffness of this totally depends on you, how puffy you want it to be. Okay, so unfold it, measures 15 inches. I'm just going to mark out the armhole. See how deep I curved it, because I want it to have this puffiness around the shoulder. Moving over to the sewing part. So here I've added my interfacing to the fabric. Okay, this for the front, and this is the lining piece. Okay, so the first thing I will do is to go and stitch up the dart. I'll be doing that separately. I will stitch the lining dart separate and the main fabric separate, and then I will stitch around the keyhole with 1/2 inch. Okay, and for the back, so go and stitch the dart separately as well. So here I've done that. I've stitched up the darts and also sewn the keyhole. Okay, so next thing I will do now is to notch around this keyhole. Okay, you have to notch carefully so you don't cut the main seam, and then you're going to trim down this. What I will do now is to pass this lining through the keyhole just like you see me doing here. Okay, and then I'll go and iron this properly. Okay, so here I've done that. Next is to turn this neckline. I'll be doing that with a bias tape. Okay, and for the sides, I'm just going to open it up like so and turn it right sides facing each other, and then I will stitch with 1/2 inch for the both sides. Okay, so this is the back. I've stitched up the darts. Okay, so the next thing I will do now is to sew the neckline. Okay, but before that I already stitched this ropes. Okay, so from this shoulder line here, I'm going to come down by 2 inches, sorry, and also do the same for this part. Okay, so now I'm going to pass this rope, okay, from that 2 inches mark. Okay, just going to place it like so and hold it with a pin. I'll also do the same for this other part as well, and then I'll take it over to my sewing machine. I'll go and join the neck around the neckline with 1/2 inch top stitch before stitching up the sides. Okay, so this is what it looks like when I'm done, and this is the front. So the next thing we're going to do now is to go and join along the shoulder line. Okay, we're just going to place them right sides facing each other. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to place it like so. Take the lining from the back. You're making sure that these 2 points are lined, and then you flip it to the other side. Okay, this method gives it a more neater finishing. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it with a pin, and then I'll go and stitch with 1/2 inch. Okay, so this is it when I'm done. So the next is to attach the Flair to the bodice. Okay, so I'm just going to get this. Okay, this is for the front, and we're going to go and stitch this with 1/2 inch along the waistline. Okay, and we'll also do the same thing for the back. Okay, so before doing this part, make sure that you've cross-checked your half length and trim down if there's any excesses. Okay, so I'm just going to go and join everything along the waistline with 1/2 inch. So here I've done that. Okay, and also I've also attached my zipper to the back. So the next thing we're going to do now is to go and close up the sides, okay, with our body measurement, and then I'll attach the pocket as well. Okay, I already cut out the pocket pieces. Okay, so this is what it looks like when I'm done. Everything looking all nice. So the next thing is to attach the second tier of this dress. Okay, so here I've gathered it up. Okay, but I made it a very scanty gathers. Like I said, the Flair part already took most part of this fabric, so I had to make these gathers very scanty. So I'm just going to open up the joining at the back, and I'll go and stitch this. I'll go and join it all around with 1/2 inch. Okay, so while I'm stitching, I was adjusting the gathers as well. So this is what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so the next thing is to hem the down part, and that is basically it. So for the sleeves, I've already attached elastic to the down part of this sleeve, and I'll once attach this part to the bodice. I'll gather this other part to give it that puffiness. Okay, and this is it. We are done with the dress. See how nice everything is looking. And this is the back. Okay, so you're going to be tying this up so however you want it to be. This is the finished look. This dress is very beautiful. You need to make one for yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. To my returning subscribers, thank you guys so much for sticking with us, and see you guys in my next video. Bye.